Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 13, Episode 1, New Friends, Same Jersey. Finally, our Jersey girls are back and we are kicking off Season 13 with a big bloated Episode 1. And I'm not just talking about the husband's calendar. These guys did some eating off season. And if you're wondering where they spent the money that they didn't spend on the Salt Lake City reunion, it was spent on this feature-length film-like opening scene here for Jersey. We, of course, get the scary music. I'm kind of expecting that now. We're going to start with some eerie music to let you know that, danger is afoot. Then the screen just says, New Jersey. We now break into a very slowed down, stripped down version of Olivia Newton-John's Magic. It appears to be Teresa's wedding day. You have to believe we are magic. Ooh. Look behind you! Cut to Teresa saying, family is everything. Melissa, oh, so now I'm the bad guy? Now? Come on, girl. Nothing can stand in our way. Teresa's walking down the aisle. Cut to Dolores. People think Frank is the man of my life. He's not. You have to believe we are magic. Jen's walking down the aisle. Margaret is arriving. So yeah, Margaret's at the wedding. Cut to Margaret. Screaming at Jennifer. Jennifer, you don't have any fucking friends. Jennifer, I have a family, which is something you'll never know what it's like to have. If you have the opportunity, you really need to see that opening for yourself. It's frightening. I was on the edge of my seat. Then we just get into a montage of a whole lot of yelling and screaming, everybody yelling at each other. Frank, Melissa, Joe. And then we see the trailer for the whole season, including the new housewives, Danielle and Rachel. Not Danielle Staub. No, we're not that lucky. Although this Danielle, she's kind of a trip, so she might be good. All right, after the obligatory brief check-ins with everybody at home with their families, we're kind of getting caught up with everyone's, routine life, I guess. We settle on Dolores' house, and she is FaceTiming her daughter, Gabby. She's talking about her relationship with Paul. If you recall at the reunion, Frank let us know that Paul looks like Buzz Lightyear. That's kind of accurate. Anyway, Gabby's asking Dolores about Paul, and she says that he has COVID right now. So she can't see him for I don't know how long. While they're FaceTiming, Frank walks in the front door. And Dolores is like, Frank, you need to knock now. And Frank's like, yeah, knock this, Dolores. Frank is not having an easy time with the fact that Paulie is a, normal boyfriend. Unlike David, who didn't care that Frank was around 24/7 because David wasn't and maybe wasn't that interested in Dolores. I don't know. I thought he liked her, but David was just very unbothered by Frank's constant presence in Dolores' life. And I don't think Paulie is okay with that, which I get. We cut to Melissa and Joe's house, and they're talking about an 80s roller skating party that Melissa is having, I don't know, to kick off Memorial Day or something. I don't know if Joe asked her, who's coming, and she said, well, I invited everybody. And then we cut back to Dolores' house, and Dolores has, clothes and boxes all over, the couches in the living room and stuff. And Frank said, Dolores, it looks like you're moving out of here. I moved out of this house so Paulie wouldn't be uncomfortable. Now you're not even going to live here? Also, if you recall, Frank moved in with Dolores' ex, David. If that's what Frank expects, does he expect to become best friends with all of Dolores' boyfriends? That's unrealistic, Frank. Frank is acting like I didn't even have to move out of the house if you were going to basically move out. I don't know why her stuff is out there. It's not like she's moving in with Paulie, I don't think, but maybe she's just spending more and more time at his place. Or maybe she has her old apartment still. I don't know her living situation yet. But either way, Dolores is like, no, Frank, it's fine that you moved out. You just stay there. So they talk about the roller skating party, and Frank asks if Paulie's coming, and she said no because he has COVID. As I said, Frank's struggling. Frank misses Dolores, and he tells her, I just want to be in a room with you and our kids and Paul and hang out together and like have it be comfortable. And she said, just be patient, Frank. Give it time. Or maybe he doesn't want to hang out with his girlfriend's ex-husband all the time. That's okay, too. Okay, so now we are at Jennifer's house. She's on the couch with her kids, and Jennifer has her foot in a boot. Apparently, she broke her toe. She's still going to the roller skating party, though. Yeah, she's just gonna have to modify things. In her confessional, Jennifer tells us, last year I had a slew of bad luck. Margaret was messing with my life. Then my Ferrari got stolen. So my mom thought I had the evil eye. So she made Jennifer go through this Turkish ritual to kind of ward off these evil spirits. It's supposed to repel negative energy, I guess. But then when she was vacationing with Teresa for her 50th birthday, chiffon pants broke my toe. I love that sentence. She does not explain how or why, but I bet they were like big, flowy, and kind of long, and she tripped over them, maybe. I'm guessing. Back at Dolores', we find out that Dolores hasn't spoken to Jennifer since the reunion. I can't even remember what the issue is between Jennifer and Dolores. But now Bill comes home and Jennifer's talking to him, and she says that she will not speak to Dolores. Like, she's not going to approach Dolores. And she's like, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm in a better place with Melissa. So again, you know how bad my memory is, but is it because Margaret kept bringing up Bill's infidelity and making that like, you know, at the forefront and calling Jennifer a hypocrite? And I think Dolores was getting one story from Jennifer, and then Dolores had a talk with Margaret. Margaret explained a little more to that story. And so then Dolores kind of took the other side. I don't know. I guess Jennifer felt betrayed. All I remember is that I didn't think it was that big of a deal, all things considered. You know what I mean? Last year, I feel like Margaret came in episode 1, guns blazing. She got Jennifer to admit that Bill had an affair and also was confronting Teresa about Louis's weird tape, his weird men's retreat tape on the beach, naked with naked men. You guys remember. So I feel like that was certainly the bigger story of the year. An issue between Dolores and Jennifer? I don't know. I could be, if I'm forgetting something bigger that happened between Dolores and Jennifer, leave it in the comments. So anyway, we're back at Melissa and Joe's, and Melissa had just said, I invited everybody. And Joe looks at her and he goes, you invited Teresa? Melissa, yeah, I didn't want to leave anybody out. Joe, you got left out. Okay, so I see how they're already playing this. Melissa, very sweetly, you know, inviting Teresa places, even though Teresa wouldn't have her as a bridesmaid. She only had Louis's sisters as bridesmaids. And then later on, Dolores and Jennifer. But yeah, it's going to be Melissa is the good guy and the victim, I think is their strategy for this year. We'll see. It's early. Then Melissa talks about this text that she sent Teresa, and we see it. And again, you know, how big of Melissa. She tells her in this text, I'm really fine with not being your bridesmaid. That's okay. But let's just stop. Like, I won't blame you for being friends with Jennifer. You don't blame me for being friends with Margaret. And let's just move forward. And then she never got a response from that. Then much later, like I think maybe a couple months later, Teresa sent her a text inviting her to her birthday vacation. You know, the one where chiffon broke Jennifer's toe. And Melissa was just like, you're going to invite me to this vacation? You never even responded to my text. You don't want me at your wedding, but you want me at your birthday vacation? So I'm assuming Melissa declined. I don't even know if Melissa responded to that, honestly. Okay, next we are at Teresa and Louis's house, and it is a birthday party for Teresa, her 50th birthday. There's a big giant balloon arch with rose gold balloons. And thank you. That's my favorite color. Oh, it doesn't surprise me that her favorite color is rose gold. Something trendy. Anyway, in her confessional, Teresa says, at first, I wasn't gonna embrace turning 50, but like, I know I don't look 50. So modest. All right, Louis is running around. He's grilling. He's making homemade pizzas. And the doorbell rings. He runs to the door. And it's his family. I mean, Teresa's girls are there, of course, because they live there. But it's Louis's mom and dad and his sisters. Side note, I actually might like Louis's family. I'm reserving judgment. I like his mom a lot. She's a therapist, which, how good is that to have in Teresa's life? Teresa tells her the same thing about how she wasn't sure she wanted to embrace turning 50. And Louis's mom goes, it's just a number. And mine's unlisted. So she's just, you know what I mean? Like, she's got that kind of cute energy. So now Teresa talks to Louis's sisters about their bridesmaid dresses, and I guess the wedding is 2 months away. And with Louis's sisters, I guess I'm trying not to judge them based on Teresa's actions. Like, it's not their fault that Teresa asked them to be bridesmaids and, didn't ask Melissa. I don't know. We'll see. If this marriage lasts, and for her sake, I hope it does. I do. I hope Louis isn't what we think he is, like kind of a con man sort of a thing. I really hope that. His family seems genuinely lovely to me, his dad, mom, and his sisters. So I hope that this works out great. But I do wonder what those sisters are going to think of Teresa, in the coming years. Meanwhile, back at Joe and Melissa's house, Joe is hurting. He is hurt by his sister's actions, by his sister shunning his wife. He's hurt by the fact that Teresa has chosen Louis's family over him and Melissa. So he says, I can't even answer the phone when she calls. I can't go to her birthday party. So apparently they were invited to this birthday party at Teresa's house. But as Louis pointed out to Teresa, they did send her flowers. And we got to see the beautiful bouquet of flowers. Louis doesn't think that Joe should be mad at Teresa. Louis is like, I'm surprised you didn't call him a little bitch boy a long time ago. So Louis is sweet. Teresa goes, I know, and not coming tonight. Like, they said they had plans. And Louis goes, it's to punish you. Teresa, I don't even think it's my brother, though. It's Melissa. He just follows along. No, it's your brother. Melissa reached out to you, apparently. I mean, Melissa may be phony, but she did reach out to you and your brother didn't. So I'm not sure how Melissa is telling him not to speak to you, yet she reaches out to you herself. Obviously, Teresa doesn't want to think it's her brother, right? She wants there to be a villain, and she's made the villain Melissa. I'm not saying Melissa's not a villain. I'm just saying Melissa's not the only thing wrong with this whole family dynamic. It's just easier for Teresa to wish that Melissa was out of the picture and to think that if she was, she and her brother would be family again. I don't think that's true, but I think that's what Teresa has to think. Otherwise, it hurts too much. So Louis goes, but it's weak, immature. His insecurities are screaming. So they sit down to dinner, and after Louis's father says grace, the girls and little Louis's son, have a birthday present that they give to Teresa. It's a Tiffany bracelet. Teresa opens it and she goes, wait, girls, tell everybody what I said, all I wanted for my birthday. And Gabrielle, who, even though I think Gia said Gabrielle finds her voice this season, and we're going to see more from her, in this scene is, still dead inside, as are all of Teresa's daughters. So Gabrielle says, just for us not to fight, Gia, and to love each other. So the fact that they gave her a gift, does that mean that that's not going to happen? They're not fighting and loving each other? Because that's what she really wanted for her birthday, not a Tiffany bracelet. So anyway, Teresa goes, yeah, because you see what's going on with my brother. I don't ever want that for you guys. Gia, That's never gonna happen with us. Melania, sisters are different. It's not because you're sisters. It's because the four of you combined don't have enough energy to get into an argument with each other. Teresa goes, yeah, I know. I wish I had sisters. Well, I mean, I have sisters now. And she's looking at her sister-in-laws like she didn't already have a sister-in-law. Okay, it is time for the 80s roller skating party. Lots of big hair, lots of neon. More neon than I seem to remember for the 80s. I mean, I do remember those like tracksuits that with all the neon and stuff like Joe's wearing and that. But everybody, was there a run on them at the costume shop? Why is everybody dressed like that? We weren't all like that in the 80s. Some of us were like new wave punk girls. I guess we weren't at roller skating parties, though. That's true. All right. I mean, it feels a little disco-y, but whatever. Frank is there with his girlfriend, Brittany. Now, we find out that Brittany is 33. Frank is 58. And Dolores really likes Brittany. I guess they've been on and off for many years. But Dolores approves despite the age difference. Yes, because Frank has the maturity of a 15-year-old. So Brittany at 33 is almost the one who's robbing the cradle, if you ask me. Margaret and Joe and Marge Sr. and Lexi. I don't know if Lexi was there. Anyway, they arrive. Jackie and Evan are there. Margaret says to Melissa, is Teresa coming? And Melissa goes, she originally said yes, so I'm assuming yes. Are you going to be cool with her? And Margaret goes, listen, the last time I saw her, it was disgusting. Even Louis was telling her to stop. You're not good with her either. And Melissa said, well, we haven't spoken since that day. Are they talking about the reunion? All of them like haven't spoken since the reunion? Dolores and Jennifer haven't spoken since the reunion. Apparently, Margaret and Melissa haven't spoken to Teresa since the reunion. I don't know. I'm guessing maybe that was a few months ago. I can't remember when the reunion was filmed. I know currently right now this is 2 months before Teresa's wedding. I don't know. I don't even want to look it up. I can't remember when that is. Oh, Memorial Day. This is somewhere around Memorial Day, right? Isn't this roller skating party to kick off Memorial Day weekend? So we're like at the end of May here. All right, now we get a close-up of a car door opening and more neon just pouring out of it. And it's Teresa and Louis. I was thinking Teresa probably wasn't going to show up just because they didn't come to her birthday party, but here she is. Louis is in a white tee and black jeans, so I'm not sure if he thinks that's 80s or if he just didn't dress up. So anyway, they approach Joe and he's like talking to people and he turns around and he's surprised. And she's like, hey, hi. And he goes, oh, hi. And he, kisses her, says hi to Louis, but then he turns around again. And so his back is to them. It's awkward. In Teresa's confessional, she's like, I came to your party and you're ignoring me. Like, oh, why'd you even invite me? Okay, well, Joe didn't invite you. So contrary to what you believe, it isn't all Melissa who's against you. Okay, now Margaret is telling us about this woman that is there at the party, Jen Fessler. Margaret tells us that she's known her for a long time. She's super funny. She really likes her a lot. I'm not sure if she's going to be a friend of, but I'm kind of liking her vibe. She's not typical housewife. Like, she doesn't look like she had a lot of work done or really any work done. And she's just, so she's normal looking and she is funny. Melissa comes up and Melissa, of course, is wearing just like it looks like a Jane Fonda workout thing. And this Jen Fessler said something about like being in, because she's in like a tracksuit like Joe. She goes, of course I came dressed like Joe Gorga. And Melissa's like, I thought you were going to dress like me. And she goes, oh, I never signed up for that. So she's kind of has a good sense of humor. And I like that she looks normal, like a normal woman. All right, periodically we see some of the roller skating happening. Melissa can skate really well. I think Margaret was out there doing a lot, although Margaret falls kind of hard. We see it. And she hurt her wrist. So she's now goes up to like the bar and she asks for some ice and she gets ice put on her wrist. And Louis and Teresa come up to her to say hello. Now, Teresa told us in her confessional earlier that she does not like her behavior at the reunion. And she doesn't like how she like lost it and was seeing red and kind of attacked Margaret. So Louis has actually gotten Teresa to see a psychotherapist. Yeah, to help manage her anger. Side note, if nothing else, I like that Louis is pushing this for Teresa. Like, could you ever in a million years imagine Juicy Joe suggesting that they seek anger management, that they go to therapy, either as a couple or on their own or whatever, to manage their anger issues? No. No, Joe, I think, was proud of his anger issues. So this is very different for Teresa, and I like it. I like it. I think this is going to be good for her. Oh, wow. Okay, so Tracy and Tiki are there too. Everybody really was invited, I guess. We also meet the new housewives. First, we meet Danielle. Teresa says she knows Danielle because, let me get this right. Danielle's stepmother was married to Caroline Manzo's brother. Danielle, I will say, like, at least right now at this party, is giving off kind of a Suzanne Summers, Chrissy Snow vibe. Maybe it's the neon. I don't know. And Jennifer and Bill now arrive. More neon, and she's on a scooter with that broken toe. Okay, guess Danielle is a Staten Island girl who apparently moved to New Jersey, and she's a bit of a handful. I'm kind of here for it. We'll see. Might be fun. Okay, so it's obvious that Dolores and Jennifer are avoiding each other. We see a lot of them like near each other, but with their backs to each other. Sometimes one of them they'll catch each other's eye and then turn the other way. So it's awkward. Now we're meeting Rachel, the other new housewife, and Melissa knows Rachel because her son Gino and Rachel's son Jaden are best friends. A group of them are sitting down together now, and Dolores comes and sits down next to Joe Gorga. And Joe hasn't met Paulie yet, so he's anxious to meet him. She tells him he would have been there, but he has COVID. He's like, yeah, I can't wait to meet him one day. And Frank goes, yeah, you better be loyal to me, though. And Dolores is like, Frank, stop it. What are you talking about? Don't start, Frank. And Joe's like, don't listen to him. I love that you're happy. You're shining. Then they talk about Teresa, and she's like, you should talk to her. And he goes, I said hi to her. Frank thinks they should really talk, though. And Joe's like, listen, she made it very clear where we stand as a family. Over by the bar, Rachel is telling some of the ladies her mom just got Botox and her left eyelid is drooping over her eyeball. And Jackie goes, why? Where did she go? Rachel, I don't know, somewhere in Paramus. Does this doctor only have evening hours? I'm asking, is he also a vampire? Okay. No, she actually says it wasn't Jennifer's husband. I could fix that droopy eyelid. Teresa is now having a conversation with Jen Fessler. I don't know how they know each other. I thought it was Margaret's friend. But Jen Fessler tells her that, Margaret has been very upset about the issues between you and her. And Teresa's like, yeah, I know. Me too. Jen Fessler says you should talk to her. And Teresa kind of wants to do that anyway, because, the new and improved Teresa 2.0, who has a psychotherapist, doesn't like her past behavior. So Teresa's like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to her right now. Oh, no. Not right now. But anyway, all she does is she does go over there and she's like, can I talk to you? Well, first of all, she's like, hi. Margaret turns around. What's up, Teresa? So I wanted to invite you over to my house. Margaret, why? So you can bury me in the backyard? Teresa, no. So we can talk. They both agree that they left things on a very ugly note and that, yes, they should have a talk. Teresa goes, it didn't feel good. So, bring Joe and we'll have cheese and crackers. And Margaret's like, okay, sounds good. that was fine because they didn't stick around and like get into anything. They just made the plan to meet for cheese and crackers and went their separate ways. So Margaret kind of works her way over to the group where Jackie is standing. And she says to Jackie, I'm going to Teresa's. And Jackie's like, that's nice. Margaret, I got invited over. And Jackie goes, oh, okay, for dinner or drinks or lunch? Margaret, no, cheese and crackers. She knows I don't miss a meal. Flashback to last year when, Teresa was, oh God, I am reminded how ugly Teresa was and, is. Yes, it was wherever they were on vacation. They were all in a house together. Somewhere in the South, I feel like they were all wearing cowboy boots. And Teresa was, body shaming Margaret, which, it's always nice for women to do that to each other. Jackie's just like, oh, okay, well, less to throw at you, I guess. Okay, now Dolores tells us that she has known Rachel for many years as well. So it's not just Melissa's friend because their sons are best friends. Dolores tells us that Rachel used to train with Brittany, in bodybuilding, and that Frank was their trainer for both of them. God, Jersey loves their bodybuilding. The dark spray tan, the glittery bikini. They love those competitions. So now Dolores is trying to grab Jennifer to bring her into the group, I guess. I was unaware of the fact that Dolores was trying to get her attention earlier, but apparently she was, or according to Dolores, because Dolores goes, don't run away again. I want to invite your husband to something. So Jennifer comes over. Teresa is there, and I don't know, Jackie, some of the other ladies are standing there. And she says, you know how every year for Menominee Hospital, Menominee? I can't remember. I don't remember the name of the hospital. Anyway, she does fundraising for them every year for breast cancer research. Last year it was the baseball game. So she said this year she came up with this idea of, like a sexy calendar. You know how the firemen do it. This is like a sexy calendar for the husbands. And the photo shoot is going to be at Margaret's house. So Jennifer's like, is that all you wanted to say to me? And Dolores goes, yeah. Jennifer's like, okay, great. Well, so I'm going to go now and find Bill. So I don't know. That was Jennifer thought that she was going to apologize to her. That is clearly not going to happen because, well, for one thing, Dolores is incredibly stubborn. But for another, she does not think she did anything wrong. So there will not be, can I talk to you for a minute? I'm sorry, happening from Dolores or Jennifer, but I think they both feel like they need apologies from the other. Again, I don't even really remember what's wrong between the two of them. Okay, next we are at Danielle's house, and oh God, she's a trip, you guys. It's morning, and she's trying to wake up her 4-year-old daughter, Valentina, who she is going to be giving some of the sassiest Jersey daughters a run for their money, because this one's only 4, and there's some sass on her. She doesn't want to get up. And she has a son, Dominic, who's 7, and her husband, Nate, I think is her husband's name. Anyway, she is one of these moms who just dresses their children impeccably. Every hair has to be in place. Dominic has to have the hair gel fixed just so. This is, yeah, that's the kind of woman she is. And also, not only is she like hyper vigilant with how her children look, but her husband is like, she is madly in love with this guy. He is an Adonis. He's not. I do think I'm going to find her very entertaining, but I am so not into this family right now. Anyway, next we go to Margaret's house, and she really did break her wrist at that roller skating party. Now her wrist is in like I don't think it's a cast, but like a brace. And it's the day they're going to have cheese and crackers at Teresa's house. So she's like, Joe, put my hair in a ponytail. And he's like, okay, I'll do my best. It drives me nuts, and I do not think this is just because I was a hairstylist for years, but the fact that he's just grabbing her hair to put in a ponytail while she's wearing a hat, it's not good for my OCD people. Driving me nuts. Take the hat off, grab a brush, and brush it into a ponytail. You can do that I don't care that you're a man. Common sense. Margaret tells us, I can't do anything for myself. Joe has to help me take a shower. Joe has to blow dry my hair. But at least I can wipe myself. Okay, good. Glad to hear that. Anyway, they're talking about, what this afternoon is going to be like. And Joe thinks it's going to be a little scary. I don't disagree. Now we cut to Teresa's house, and she and Louis are talking. She's getting things ready for them to come over. And, spoiler alert, it's more than just cheese and crackers, which we all knew that, right? This is Jersey. These women eat, and they know how to entertain, too. So nobody's coming empty-handed, and nobody's just, cracking open a box of Ritz and a can of cheese. So Teresa says to him, I really want to make it good and apologize to Margaret. But I also really want her to apologize to me because she hurt me. Louis like, yeah, you felt violated. Teresa looks like she's trying to, remember what that word means. And she goes, yeah. So this next part I found fascinating. I'm sorry, I just do. Teresa tells us that she has lived her life a certain way, like her dad. She said that when he got angry, he'd bang the table, he'd get loud. If he had bread in his hand, he would throw it at her. And Teresa says, I'm just like him. I always react, and I don't want to do that anymore. I'm shocked. You guys, this could be like a breakthrough for Teresa. Louis goes, okay, let's say Margaret comes in hot. What are you going to do? Teresa, sorry you feel that way. And I want to make things good with you. Louis is like prompting her. And you want her to know that you regret your actions. Yeah. Oh my God. You guys, is there hope for a calmer, gentler Teresa? Teresa's confessional. But like with Margaret, it's the smallest thing that she says that will trigger me. So just don't piss me off. Okay, well, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's gonna take some time. Okay, so Margaret and Joe are arriving now, and, exchanging some light pleasantries, and they go out into the backyard to sit and have their cheese and crackers. So after a little small talk, like I said, Teresa said, Margaret, do you think you know the real Teresa? This is a different Teresa. This is different, you guys. This introspection, that there's an actual real Teresa inside, that maybe Margaret doesn't. I don't know. I loved that opening question from her. Very unexpected. And I loved it. And I think through Margaret, it made her pause and think about that. And she says, it's hard because we were very close. But there was a side of you last year, Teresa, that was just so cutting and hurtful. And Teresa goes, Margaret, it was week after week of hearing something negative about him. And it was all coming from you. And Margaret just says, because we were concerned at the time. I feel like Margaret should have said, no. It wasn't me posting all those news stories. It wasn't all coming from me. All these stories were coming out. All these ex-girlfriends were coming out of the woodwork. There was stories of abuse. There were just a lot of crazy, bad, negative things coming out about Louis. I think we were all concerned because Teresa's vulnerable. And of course, those stories made Margaret worry for Teresa. And yes, then gossip about them to the other ladies. But, we were all gossiping about it. But Teresa kept saying all last year, Margaret's leaking stories to the press. And, Margaret, if you weren't, this would be the time to tell her that. I don't know, maybe it's best that she didn't get into it and she just said, I was worried about you. And Teresa's reply to that is she doesn't care that Margaret was worried about her. It was hurting her, her family, Louis's kids. So Margaret said, well, if you would have said that you were hurt at the time. Teresa, I did. And Margaret said, no, you didn't. You blew up at me. Teresa says, because I thought you were my friend. Margaret goes, I am your friend. Louis makes Teresa calm down right now because she is kind of interrupting a lot. She doesn't like that he said she was interrupting, and he goes, "You're interrupting me right now." And she kind of goes, okay. So she's holding her temper right now, I can tell, but at least she's holding it. Teresa tells Margaret that she doesn't want to explode like that anymore, and that's why she's seeing a therapist. Now, personally, I wish Margaret would have taken a moment to acknowledge that, because I think that's a big step in the right direction for Teresa. Not only to admit that she's seeing a therapist, but to be seeing a therapist. That does not track with normal Teresa Giudice behavior. So I think it's huge. I think that when Teresa shared that with Margaret, that was Teresa getting a little vulnerable. And I think Margaret should have rewarded that with I think that's great. I'm happy and I hope it makes you feel better, or some acknowledgement of it. But Margaret's only response is, "But you're a grudge holder." Teresa, to her credit, just says, "Not anymore." And Margaret laughs at that. Okay. And Teresa said, "Because I'm working on myself." Good for you, Teresa. Someone needs to applaud her for this. I'm sorry. Margaret, what about Melissa and Joe? No, Margaret. What about Melissa and Joe? It doesn't concern you. Let her work that out with them. This is about working this out between the two of you. I don't know why Margaret feels like she needs to broker a deal for Melissa too while she's there. Teresa says, "Well, actually, it was because of you that I got mad at them, because I thought they should have stood up for me against like the stuff that Margaret was saying. I thought they should have said, 'Nobody speaks badly about Louis.'" Okay, but you know, everybody was speaking badly about Louis, and not just your friends. So Teresa goes, "With Melissa, when I texted her, 'Please don't talk about Louis,' what does she do? Come out and read the text to all of you guys." We see the flashback of that. Yeah, that was when they were at the shore. And whoever was staying at Melissa and Joe's house, all those people, they were around the pool. And yeah, Melissa came out and read the text. Although I do think that text was pretty threatening. It wasn't just begging her to please not talk about Louis. You know, Teresa is painting it a little bit gentler than it was. So Louis says, "I think it shows that Melissa was insecure. That's an insecure woman. You know, I like you better when you don't open your mouth." Teresa says that text, among other things, I guess, were tests for Melissa to like see if she would defend her or not, to see where her allegiance was. Teresa tells Margaret that she remembers when the two of them met, "And you were so nice to me and had that memorial for my mom." We get a flashback to that. They had the flowers float out to sea. It really wasn't long after Teresa's mom passed away. Margaret is tearing up now, and she says, "I don't want to fight with you, Teresa. I just get a weird feeling that you're not doing this for you. Do you really want to be friends with me again, or are you doing this for him?" Teresa says, "No, I'm being honest. I'm being raw as a cucumber. Raw as a cucumber? How do you say raw as a cucumber?" Oh, God. Margaret's like, "Well, I never heard that one, but maybe that's a new one. I've heard cool as a cucumber." Teresa just says, "I'm being so freaking real right now. I want to make things better with us, and I'm really sorry." Margaret says, "Thank you. I appreciate that." And this makes me so mad. This is the time for you to say, "And I'm sorry too. I want to be friends with you too. And I'm sorry I pushed so hard." If you want to say, "Hey, I didn't have ill intentions. Sorry, Louis, but I didn't know you. And Teresa's my friend who I love. And I was a little concerned about stuff that was coming out in the press about you. And it wasn't to hurt you. It was out of my desire to protect my friend. I went about it the wrong way. I realized all it did was hurt Teresa and hurt your families. And for that, I'm sorry." There's something you can apologize for. It drives me crazy when housewives just accept an apology and don't then extend an "I'm sorry" themselves. It very, very rarely in life is it just one person's fault. Anyway, Teresa, who, if you guys remember, before they got there, Teresa told Louis, I want to apologize to her because I don't like my behavior, but I also really want an apology from Margaret because she hurt me and she's not getting that. So again, you guys, I don't like Teresa, but you got to give her credit for this. There is an attempt here to change, and I have to acknowledge it. She doesn't freak out that Margaret didn't also say, I'm sorry. She just says, and I want you to come to my wedding. And Margaret said, well, thank you. That makes me feel good. So the two of them make a pact moving forward to build their relationship and their trust. And I guess the next time, they're going to see each other is at Margaret's house for the sexy calendar shoot. I wonder what month Louis is going to represent. When do tomatoes ripen? Maybe August. Maybe he'll be Mr. August. I'm sorry. That guy is so red. As happy as I am that he is getting Teresa into some badly needed, much overdue therapy, we mustn't forget how problematic Louis is. There is a reason Margaret was worried. And just because it's not the storyline this year, those things haven't gone away. Okay, so it is time for the sexy calendar shoot. Dolores arrives at Margaret's house first, of course, and I guess Margaret, Dolores, and Lexi are the ones who were kind of coordinating and planning everything. Dolores has bought a bunch of props for the guys to have with them. And the three of them have determined the persona for each of the guys and what month they're going to be representing. Margaret is arguing with Joe Benigno about how all the other husbands have been working out and preparing for this shoot. And Joe, you've been eating mac and cheese all week. And Joe's like, yeah, and I just had a sandwich. I love that he doesn't care. Dolores says Paulie is coming for the shoot, but Frank is not. She's like, Frank's not doing well. He's in the hospital. He just started having this massive stomach pain, and his bowels stopped working for over 12 hours. What? You mean he was constipated, or they really stopped working? What does that even mean? Then she's like, they're like, he needs to change his diet. I can't, this is the weirdest conversation because I can't figure out if what happened to Frank is very serious and we should be worried for him, or if it's really nothing. She keeps going back and forth between he needs to change his diet, but also he could need a colostomy bag. What is wrong with Frank? And also 12 hours? How do you know they stopped working for 12 hours? I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel about this. Because a minute later, Joe B comes in a leather vest and they're laughing. So it can't be dire, right? All right, so the first couple to arrive is Danielle and her Adonis, Nate. Rachel and her husband, John Fuda, are next. John Fuda is built like a brick house. His muscles have muscles. It's not my thing at all, but it is definitely a Jersey thing. All right, so Joe B is the first to get his pictures done, and he's sitting on a motorcycle. Like I said, he has a leather vest, no shirt on, and, a substantial belly. Margaret's like, Joe, cover your stomach. And I just wish she, leave him alone. First of all, does he belong in a sexy magazine? Probably not. But he's there. He's a sweet guy. If it's just the husbands of the Real Housewives of New Jersey, he definitely has earned his spot. And, maybe we just don't call it a sexy calendar. Because next is Nate. Let me just say, I think Danielle might be the only one who thinks Adonis when they see Nate. He's holding his stomach in so bad. I'm sad for him. Honestly, Joe B with his gut hanging out on the motorcycle was sexier just because he was more confident. He's like, this is me. Take it or leave it. And, Nate is trying to suck in. I don't know. It's not working. I'm being way too harsh. I mean, to be fair, this poor guy doesn't have a chance. They handed him a watering can as his prop. There's not a lot you can do with that. They did have him pour the water on himself so it goes down his chest. I haven't seen the finished calendar. I'm guessing that's not going to be the picture that makes it. Rachel's husband is a sexy lumberjack. They had him rip the sleeves off his flannel shirt. Episode 1 is an hour and 15 minutes long. So that's why I said at the top of this episode that it wasn't just the episode that was bloated. let me just say this. The men definitely haven't been working on their bodies. I think it's the time of year, right? If it's May, maybe they haven't started working out yet. Contrary to what Margaret said, the other men are dieting and working out for this, and Joe Benigno's been eating mac and cheese. Guess what? I think Joe may have been bringing over his famous mac and cheese to all the other men. Honestly, not even Louis, who is usually in pretty good shape. He even looked a little out of shape. So I just think it was a bad time to have the photo shoot. And anyway, this John Fuda, he's a big guy. Rachel tells us in her confessional that John has done some modeling before. And the producer asks her, did he have any success as a model? Rachel, well, he was on Law and Order. So no. Evan is all oiled up for his shoot. He's got a basketball as his prop. Side note, am I the only one who thinks it was a miss for them not to shoot Evan at the gym? You know, doing stuff. Like, stuff. At the gym. All right, now Joe and Melissa and Teresa and Louis arrive. Not together, but the four of them are there now. Joe is still so mad at his sister, he doesn't even want to be around her. I'm sad for him because I feel like it's bothering him more than anybody else. And last to arrive is Bill and Jennifer. Someone asks, what do we have Bill doing? And Dolores goes, sexy doctor. Oh, come on. Are you even trying to sell these calendars? You have an actual vampire in the shoot. And you're what, going to have him hold a stethoscope? Boring. He should be naked in a coffin. Okay, good. Joe Gorga's all oiled up. Where's the photographer? Apparently now every man is going to be oiled. And it unfortunate for the new guys. Sorry, Nate. That watering can water would have just slid right off you if you were oiled up. But no, you had to have a dry, pasty chest. Sorry. I am so sorry. I don't know why I'm being that mean. It's brave of them to do this. It's fine. I think it's because it was being touted as like one of those sexy fireman calendars. And, you know, these men are not firemen. It's fine, though. And, you know, at least John got to have an axe as his prop. Nate had a plastic watering can. It's hard to, like, sex that up. All right, so Danielle is talking to Jennifer, and she asks her if she talked to Dolores. Now, I don't know the relationship Danielle has with Jennifer or how those two know each other. Jennifer seemed to be confiding a lot in her, I think even at the roller skating party and now here, about how she's not, you know, talking to Dolores, how, you know, they have an issue. And Danielle's pretty, you know, concerned with that. Did you talk to her yet? And Jennifer goes, no, I came for her. I brought my husband for the calendar shoot and she ignores me. But you know what? I'm supporting the cause. Okay, so we're out in the backyard for Joe Gorga's shoot and he's barbecuing. That's what they have for him. He's got like a big chef hat and, you know, he's barbecuing hot dogs or something. Oh, he's got like a little American flag apron on. So I'm sure he's Mr. July. But is barbecuing what he's really known for? I don't know. I'm trying to think of some of the, like the lumberjack. What month would that have been? Maybe December? Like chopping down a Christmas tree? I don't know. The watering can was probably May, watering flowers, maybe. Okay, Jen Fessler is here now. I don't think she has a husband with her. I don't know if she has a husband at all. But, yeah. So she's here. I don't know why. And that makes me think she definitely is a friend of this year because there really wouldn't be any reason for her to be at this event, right? All right, now Louis is getting ready for his pictures. Oh, this is when I noticed that not even Louis was working on his body for this. Teresa's like fixing something and somebody jokes about her being his fluffer. In her confessional, the producer asks her, what is a fluffer? And Teresa goes, a fluffer? Is it that long stick with the feather for your butt? She's like, I don't know. Yeah, no, you don't. All right, well, they've got Louis doing a yoga pose. So, I mean, at least that makes sense to me. But I would have liked to seen him naked on a beach with a bunch of naked men crying and proposing to his ex-girlfriend. So, another missed opportunity. He is still beet red. So you've got that to look forward to if you buy the calendar. They should have had him at a farmer's market. I'm in a mood, you guys. I don't know what it is. I'm in a very snarky, borderline mean mood. And I'm sorry. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Margaret tells Melissa and Joe about her cheese and cracker meeting with Teresa. She tells them that Teresa told her that what Margaret was doing to her all season, she took it out on Melissa and Joe because she thought that they didn't have her back enough. Melissa goes, I didn't say one thing about Louis. And Margaret goes, no, I know you didn't. But she brought up when you read that text to everybody. And Joe goes, what did Louis say? Margaret, well, he said that that was an insecure move on Melissa's part. Melissa, wait, he's calling me insecure? Me saying, hey, everybody, she doesn't want us to talk about Louis is a problem? And that makes me a very insecure woman? Okay, well, you didn't say it like that. And also, everybody embellishes or misremembers the past in a way that makes them come off more flattering, right? So Teresa's message wasn't, hey, could you please stop talking about Louis? It's hurting my feelings. No, it was a threat like, you better stop talking about him, whatever. It was mean. And Melissa, you didn't come out and say, hey, everybody, we really need to stop talking about Louis. Teresa wants us to stop talking about him. No. You read her text word for word and made her look like a fool, and that's how you wanted it. So neither of you are angels in this situation. And also you are, and you just embellished this last thing by saying, that makes me a very insecure woman. He didn't say that. He didn't say very, and he didn't say it quite like that. I don't love the way he said it, to be honest with you. And it doesn't make sense to me either, but whatever. So now Joe goes, that's up. So yeah, I'm sure Margaret relaying that part to them is going to just work wonders for her relationship with Teresa and the trust that they're trying to build. Oh my gosh. Okay, well now Paulie arrives and Joe and Melissa get to meet him. I think they're meeting him for the first time. Everyone thinks he smells so good. He's like hugging the ladies and they're like, you smell good. So now I'm kind of dying to know what he's wearing. Side note, in case you're wondering what I smell like Harry Styles. My daughter was home a couple of Christmases ago. She had a sample of Tom Ford. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, but it was like tobacco vanille. And it smelled so good that I found a dupe for it on Amazon. Just a little roller ball of a dupe for, I don't even know what it was, $15 or something, say. And I thought it smelled pretty good, but I couldn't remember what the real one smelled like. But this smelled pretty good. Well, just this past Christmas, my daughter bought me the real perfume. Yeah. And it is heavenly. I love it. And it was funny because I had told her, I found out that that was the scent that Harry Styles wore. So she bought me the real stuff. So yeah, I just thought I would share that little story. It's just little old me, Jill informed, smelling exactly like Harry Styles. Meanwhile, Bill's shoot is happening, and Jennifer tells us that Bill shaved his chest for this, and now he's getting all oiled up. And finally, Paulie is getting his beefy arms all oiled up, and they have dressed him like a leprechaun bartender. So cringy. I'm guessing he's Mr. March, but it is so stereotypical and offensive to me. Look, I don't know what his deal is yet. Earlier, like when they were meeting him and stuff and saying how something about Dolores is so happy now and everything, Paulie made a joke about his sprinkling Lucky Charms magic on her or something. So he's even doing it himself. And I just don't like it. I'm not making a big deal about it. I just think it's cringy. Meanwhile, Jennifer is still kind of complaining to Danielle about Dolores, and Jen Fessler walks up. Jennifer says that she refuses to approach Dolores because I did nothing wrong to her. And Jen Fessler says, but you have done something that you would take back. I don't know what that means. And Jennifer goes, no, I kissed her motherfucking ass when she was with David. You know how many times I could have said, when a man is with you for 5 years and he still don't know, it's no, that's the answer. But I never said that, Rachel. But you're saying it now. Jennifer goes, "Oh, forgive me for finally saying it now." Jennifer's so fun to do because like she gets real soft and then she gets real street tough, and it's like you never know what you're going to get with her. And I kind of love it. It's just fun to do. Anyway, Rachel goes, "What happened between you two?" "Yeah, thank you, Rachel. I would like to know too." Jennifer, "Well, I went through a lot last year because Margaret brought up an infidelity that my husband had. She thought I was a hypocrite because I kept coming after her for being a cheater when I was with a cheater." And Rachel goes, "Well, I do think that was hypocritical." Okay. And this irritates me because we don't really get into what the issue was with Dolores then. Jennifer just says that she wants to know that Dolores cares. Jen Fessler, "Then just be vulnerable." Yes. Thank you, Jen Fessler. That's what I've been saying all along. It's hard to come at somebody and attack them when they're being vulnerable with you. It's almost a little disarming to these housewives because it doesn't happen very often. But I do think it's a good strategy. Jen says, "I was vulnerable and it got me nowhere." So anyway, that group kind of breaks up and now Rachel is with Dolores. And she tells her, Jen's really upset. She doesn't know what she did, and she feels like you don't care. Dolores is like, "What? Is this 6th grade? She's telling everybody but me." Meanwhile, she's telling Melissa. And Dolores can hear her. So now Dolores is mad. She goes to find her. She says, "Jennifer, can we talk?" And Jennifer's like, "Absolutely. Of course, we absolutely can talk." So they go off. I don't know if she thinks this is Dolores finally going to apologize, but don't be expecting that. Dolores goes, "You've been talking about me all night." Jennifer, "To try to get you where we are right now." Dolores goes, "I tried to talk to you at the roller rink twice. You told so many people, Jennifer, that you didn't think I was a good friend to you." Jennifer, "That's how I feel. You jumped ship. I f***ing loved you. And you couldn't even have the decency to say that what Margaret did to me was wrong. You sided with everybody else." Dolores, "I didn't side with everybody else." Jennifer, "You said I'm not defendable." Dolores, "You're not defendable, but I still do it." Jennifer, "You don't." Dolores, "You and I don't agree on what a friend is." Jennifer, "We totally don't. I'm nice. You're not. Oh, we're good." Jennifer walks away. "I don't care. I just thought you were my friend. And I just realized I never had one." It's escalating. It's getting loud. It's drawing the attention of everybody else. Now their conversations have stopped around the room. They're looking over to see, what's happening. Margaret's like, "Oh God." The ladies gather around. Dolores is like, "You think I'm going to explain myself to this?" Again with the this. She called Jackie this last year. Now it's Jennifer's turn. Jennifer tells her, find a different word, something like that. Use a different word, Merriam-Webster. I think I've said this before, but you know that these ladies think that that's a woman, right? Merriam-Webster, some lady that wrote a dictionary. Dolores tells her, "You should learn more from me." Jennifer grabs Bill. So they're heading out the door together. After Dolores tells her she should learn more from her, Jennifer goes, "I should. I could learn how to be a bitch and a fucked up friend." To be continued. That's it, you guys. That was our big bloated episode 1. No, it was a lot of fun, actually. I'm even kind of excited about the new ladies. I don't know too much about Rachel yet. Danielle, Danielle's going to be a lot. She's going to be a lot, but hopefully in a good way. And, does Teresa continue to work on herself? I don't know. She might. I hate to see someone like her, like with her past, like very bad behavior. And I don't think she's a very good person. I don't. I want her to change. You know, I want her to do better and be better, but it is hard to see the success that she has acquired, particularly recently, I feel like. Like she's on all the talk shows and stuff, and she was in that, was it the Super Bowl commercial? And I don't know. She's such a character that she's going to be very, very wealthy. We'll see. I'm excited for this new season. I hope you guys are too. Thank you so much for being here with me. This was a lot of fun. If you liked this recap, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have yet to subscribe to Jill Informed, please consider doing so. Both of those things mean something to YouTube. They help my algorithm and they mean a lot to me. I would very much appreciate it. And if you click on the bell icon, you will be notified every time I have new content to post. Okay, that's it for me. I love you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.